Welcome back. It's the Overdeveloped Podcast. This time, returning for us today, SirTom Games. He is back because this is our Stadium episode. Now, this is not a full opinion on Stadium. That's not what we're going to be talking about today because Tom and I had the pleasure of playing in the playtest. So we got to play Stadium, I think, like a month and a half ago at this point, or whenever it actually started, and then we got to play it early last week as well. So we have a little bit more insight about how the game mode kind of progressed, what it's like. You know, we have more a little bit more experience with it, so I figured he would be a great guest to have on. But once again, please, Tom, introduce yourself here for us today.
Yeah, I'm Tom. I play a lot of Overwatch and hang out with Lane, and sometimes I share my opinion.
You've got 2.5 attributes of a person. That's all you
There you
need.
go. What more you want from me, man? I'm just here for the hot takes. I'm here to spit the spice. I'm here to get the clickbait in.
Yeah. So this episode is also going to be a little shorter, like last time. Just because Tom is a repeat guest, so we're not going to be talking about his experience with Overwatch. We're going to get kind of like right into it. We're actually going to start out here with the patch notes. Tom, you can see this, right? I'm pretty sure I shared my screen already. We're not going to talk about Stadium quite yet. We'll touch that later. The patch notes, I don't think say anything about what they changed from the playtest because the majority of people would have no idea. It's different from like a Freya playtest. Like this is the first time most people are seeing this, so I don't think it really matters so much. Blah 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 blah. All this stuff. Streamer Protect is nice. Reporting, you can report from replays now, so you don't have to go back and like find all your through your social list and hope that they're still there. I think we can touch briefly on hero bans. I don't think either of us have played ranked yet. But just in general, what are your thoughts on hero bans? Have you been pro hero ban so far? And how do you, if you know what it's like, how do you like the system on paper?
Yeah, I've played probably 3 or 4 comp games since the season came out. Honestly, I think the ban system's pretty solid. Obviously I think people that play both games probably have little experience from Rivals. I think it's nice that there's no like overlapping bans, because in Rivals it's just like whatever your team bans, as to like both teams. If everyone's like, hey, we don't want to go against this one character, and then both teams use a ban on it, then I guess you have one less ban, which isn't a big deal. But I like that you don't have to worry about that overlapping, and that it's more of like a team voting. Rivals is like,
random,
even if one person selects something, there's a random chance that they're the one who gets the ban, which I don't understand at all. But like all my comp games have been pretty consistently banning. I guess I played in a 3 or a 4 stack, so we were probably adding to that consistency. But I think Zarya got banned every game, Mercy got banned every game, and then like Sombra, Widow. I haven't seen any support other than Mercy get banned. I know everyone was like, oh yeah, we're gonna ban Ana every game, but people also really like playing Ana, so yeah. I think I'm interested to see what the ratio of like power level to community's acceptance of that power level is, because like people always talk about like, oh, the game's at its best when Rhine is strong, or they used to say that in Overwatch 1. So like it'll be interesting to see if strong characters that people like playing against the dodge bans more than like, I don't think Sombra's like a world ender, and I don't see her in very many games anyway, but it seems like everyone's been very quick to ban her regardless. So it seems very sentiment heavy so far.
Yeah, I think the way that they've done it, where it's like you can't see the enemy at all, you rank by like, you rank them, preference wise. To me, it screams, get rid of the characters that you just find unfun. not necessarily the ones you find strong. Like, I don't think it has really any strategy to it unless you are legitimately like a one trick. You know, like if you literally only play one hero or you're like dead set on playing a hero that game, then I guess there's a difference to it. But like for the most players, it's just like, do you like Widow? No, you don't like playing against Widow? It's cool, get rid of her, right? I think that's really what it's gonna be, and I think like heroes that are gonna get banned are characters that are annoying and show up frequently, because like honestly, like nowadays, how often is Roadhog gonna get banned? We all hate Roadhog, but like
I haven't seen a hog in a long time.
no one plays that guy. So like unless the bans like accidentally roll like the perfect hog counters, and then somebody decide they want to play them, but I don't think there's any world where it's like you can't ban all of hog's counters. But like, yeah, I think it's not going to be any kind of strategy whatsoever. Like, I think it's just going to be for you.
I'd be interested to see if, like, at a very high level, like, if, I don't know, someone like Zebra that, like, just plays Doomfist or whatever, if they're getting their team to ban, like, Sombra Cass every game, like, eventually does that get to be oppressive, or, like, you know, because if you don't know you're going against that, like, it'd be kind of random just to, like, ban Doom. I assume at the top level, you know, you'll be, like, I guess banning Sojourn or something if you don't want that in the games. So it's like, will you be able to ban, if you double ban a counter pick to whatever you're playing, could it get to a point where that's providing like a weird play experience, or like really leaning strongly towards like dive or brawl depending on bans?
I mean,
I don't
the
know.
thing is that like I think limiting it to I actually think it's smart that they limited it to the teams, because with a ranked system, I think that they could have gone down the it's based on the lobby, you know, like everybody in the lobby puts weight towards it instead of like one team banning two and the other team banning two. You know what I mean? The reason why I say that is that you can't ban out all the counters. I think there are enough characters in this game where like, yeah, okay, sure, you might get rid of Cast Sombra against Doom, but you didn't get rid of, you know, Brig, and you didn't get rid of Ana, you know, characters that would some characters that would in theory like give him a hard time. Like, it's not like you were eliminating everything. I don't think there's any one character in this game that you can just eliminate two instantly and like make it super tough without like mirroring, right? I don't think, I'm trying to think, like, because generalists generally aren't, it doesn't matter, right? Generalists don't have counters anyways, so like why would it matter? So yeah, I don't think you're gonna be in a world where like you can just completely control a lobby because you have like a super one trick like Zebra. I think the actual problem is that a lot of people in high ranks right now, I think, are getting stream sniped, where they just go check a stream and go, did anybody like get in my, like, is anyone in the ban phase currently while we're in ban phase? Because then like, oh, I know what they're looking to play. Like, you can kind of figure out like, I'm definitely in this game with them because I'm a GM.
Yeah, I wonder if streamers would have to, like, I don't know, they're gonna start throwing up a, you know, something to block it while they're matchmaking or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, that's annoying, but I don't really know how you. I mean, I think that's just kind of how it goes with streaming in a game like that with no delay. But
I think
I don't know how Overwatch would solve that on their end.
I think it'd just be nice to have like a little I don't know. I wonder if there's a way to do like, because I was gonna say if it shows up like a screen that's like, you know, before the bans happen, but like the second you get into a game it knows. I wonder if there's a way to like fake it. Like, maybe there's
Like while you're in queue, it just like randomly pops that up every once in a
yeah,
while.
like you fake it either pops one up or like it doesn't pop it immediately, like it gives you some kind of cue behind the scenes to where like, you know, something that you could hide more effectively, and then it goes, hey, your game is ready, you know, like no sound cue, so like you could put your player cam where that is, and then you can then like hide it, or you can, I don't know, like you can just swap things, or I don't know. I think there's some things that they could do on their end to help it, but that is just the nature of streaming. I mean, like, there, it's definitely better than the rival solution, but like, there's no silver bullet to this kind of thing. Like, people are insane. Like, it is gonna happen.
I think it's also a problem affecting 0.001% of the player base. So like, I don't think it's a need of dire attention. It's like, if I don't know, streamers will figure out a way to solve it if it really gets that bad, and most of them have a big enough pool of heroes that I don't think it would be super problematic.
But yeah, hero bans, that good. I'm so excited.
I'm good overall. Less Mercies in my game has been fun.
Exactly. I'm on the train. I'm gonna just like Widow and Mercy, and then whatever map specific thing that's annoying, and then that's all I care about. But yeah, that's it for hero bans. We'll probably return to those after some time playing with it. But for right now, I think we're still ready. I like the implementation from what I've heard. Balance. Now, I know you've probably seen all the patch notes too. There are a couple of things that I know I want to talk about, but are there any, like, as we go through these, just holler at me if there's one you want to like stick on, because
sure.
I don't want to hit all of them. Because like, you know, the Diva one, like, this is nice, but it's just two of her minor perks going to get like two of the weakest perks in the game becoming one still somewhat weak perk. So like, yeah, whatever. The hazard one.
I think the balance in the game is at a pretty good state right now. Like, I feel like it's nothing is other than probably Sojourn. Everything else feels relatively good at the moment, or at least definitely from a tank perspective. I don't feel like any tank is like really oppressive, especially now that they tuned down Winston a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think Winston was oppressive per se. I think it's hard for him to like feel oppressive. I think it's more like underground.
It's one of those things where like they're like, oh, if Ryan's in a good state, you know, it's good for the game. Or it's like, Winston, even when he's strong, like very rarely am I like, oh, like this is unfair. Like, he's just a very fair and understandable character to where it doesn't feel as oppressive or boring as when like we have a Mauga meta or
because like a lot of the other characters, when they have super survivability, they also have like bullshit that they can do, like, you know, like a hazard. But like, Winston doesn't have the BS. Like, he's just
Winston's kind of always like, you make one mistake and you can get blown up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much.
It's like you make one risky jump and you're like, oop, that was not the play. I'm going back to spawn.
Yeah. The hazard one, initially I was like, that seems a little scary, but it's also still niche. Like, you can just like get swapped off of it. It's good against tanks, but other than that, Orisa, I think
open Q buff.
Open. That's true, actually. I think Orisa is an interesting one to look at because she has, other than Hog, I think been the worst tank for a little bit now. Do you think this moves the needle at all? Do you think this is anything to worry about?
Like, I played a little bit of Orisa last season as like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't really know what I'm doing right now, and I'd like to not die as much tank. I think then the small buff is nice. Orisa's direction as a whole, I think, is a little, I don't know, feels a little lost at times. I'm not really sure what they're aiming for with the character. It feels like them changing it so like hers was like the one ult that could be hacked. I'm glad they changed that back, because that was like the most random interaction in the game, and it's like, how am I supposed to know this?
I actually am still in the camp where I think that her ult should be able to be blocked, but you know, it also being able to get hacked, it's like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, it's one of those like, Sigma ult can be canceled by other things, so it makes more sense. But like, if you're Orisa ulting, you have, you know, if I'm on Sig and I'm going into a Sombra, I'm like, okay, I really have to think about how I'm going to use my ult. If you're Orisa, it's just like, okay, I'm going to sit still for the next 5 seconds. Like, I hope I don't get hacked.
You have to catch her.
It's like, it's not like her ult is that good to begin with. So it's like, that interaction just felt bad.
Yeah, no, definitely. But so I guess that's nice. Like, but damage increase, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I think her damage was a tad low.
I think really the scary damage is in her spear. not in her fusion driver. And honestly, maybe the heat dissipator one might actually like kind of add up. Because I think that does that apply all the time or during Fortify? I can't remember.
I believe that's a perk change.
Yes, that's what I know. But I'm saying, like, do you have to be in Fortify?
All the time. It is all the time.
Because I remember there was old interaction with Orisa, which is what killed her, was when they removed the heat buildup reduction during Fortify. Because her lethality in Fortify was what made her so oppressive. So they got rid of that. So now she is just more lethal, in theory, more lethal in Fortify. If you take this heat one, does she get back up to those kind of like that shade of her former self? Probably not. But I think it's something to keep in mind.
I think it will be very matchup dependent. Because like I liked taking there's certain perks that like affect headshots. I really like taking into certain tank, like obviously Hog. I mean everything's good in Hog, but like Hog is so easy to just kind of sit there and pick on his head. Orisa too sometimes. So I mean she has the Fortify, but like there's certain perks that affecting headshots I feel like matters much more in certain matchups.
Right.
Like how often am I really headshotting like Doom? It's like I don't know. If he's not flying around the map maybe, or like you're never headshotting Ball. It's like I feel like that will matter in certain matchups, but honestly, I hope they take a look at her perks and give her more interesting stuff, because I really find her minor perks kind of boring.
I think what's crazy is that her major perks are also pretty weak. Like
the big spear feels good, but is bad. I think
so like bad.
It feels like it should be better.
Well, it doesn't increase her damage at all. So,
yeah, like it doesn't increase the damage or the stun or anything. It's just like
you just go. They fly further back and it pierces, and it's like piercing in this game is so incredibly bad. Like
like you just can't. You can't reliably line that up.
Now maybe in 6v6 it's a better perk. I don't know, but like yeah, I think piercing is like there's a reason my Sojourn just got it in her base kit because it just never happens. So you might as well give it a little more like room to shine. So I don't think piercing is any like really big factor. But the problem also is that if you increase the damage or anything, like it just makes it way too good. So
yeah, I don't know what direction I'd like to see them taken with. Like, I think spin is really interesting.
I love.
I don't know, maybe something that like when you spin, you like give your team a boost or something. Like, I don't know, but her perks, like having a perk that's like you're fortified just also gives you extra health. It's like this is the most boring possible.
Okay.
It's like your survivability mode makes you even more survivable. It's like, okay, I guess.
Unironically, in Stadium, she has one of her powers is that when she spear spins, she shoots a weak javelin when she does it. It was actually like incredibly fun playing like an arena. Well, I had to obviously it's a build, but like having the option of like burning your defensive cooldown to like shoot a spear and like be aggressive that way was like super gratifying. Like I feel like I was like really thinking about how I wanted to use my abilities before, this super power spike in Stadium where I could just build, fortify, and like, and do it that way. Problem with that is that then you could override Spear Spin with the shield, and then they would like one of them would get like you wouldn't be able to use it.
Yeah, I guess if you're replacing an ability, you probably don't want to have a minor perk that changes it unless you fix that interaction somehow.
Yeah, it's because like Soldier gets to choose. He's the one that's like you get to choose if you stim pack or not, so you can still get use of your minor. But yeah, I don't know. I think Orisa is. I think her kit is salvageable. I think Fortify just needs like a ground up rework, and then they can go from there. But yeah, that is Orisa, I think. Ryan, whatever. Hog. Sure, I don't know. I don't think there's anything interesting there. Nice quality of life.
Like those perks, like the Hog perk, it's like I don't really have control. I mean, I guess I have control if I hook someone into my pigpen, but like I don't really have control over when that's triggered. So I guess it's just the more uptime. It's
Yeah,
like I
it's
don't know.
like it's like
So blah.
what do they want me to do? Is it like do I use all my breather resource and then like go hook in a bad spot and like
Yeah,
what's the
I don't know. It feels
maybe
very.
this feels like it could build well with his other perk where he gets the speed boost when he is vaping so that he could like go vape and then get
Lay a
to an
trap behind
angle.
you as you run away.
No, you get to an angle and then you throw your trap and hook and then you get all your vape juice back so you can go run away from the angle. Like, but like Hog is just so fundamentally like he's even in Overwatch 1 he doesn't function as a tank. You know what I mean? Like there was a reason that pre-goats you played Hog or sorry, pre-Brig rather, you played Hog as your second support because he was the only one who could protect a backliner effectively. So like
Yeah, he just doesn't work in 5v5. Like it
yeah,
just I don't
he
know how
doesn't
you
work
would
in six v
ever.
six. Like he's just not a tank. Like, he just doesn't do what tanks do.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't really work in role queue, I guess is what I should say.
That's a
'Cause
better way
I
to put
think
it.
I think when you can kind of slot him around as a wild card, he's more interesting of a character. But yeah, as a when you're like, hey, I sure hope I get a second tank, and you get
The
Roadhog.
only time he's good is that when he has that one shot threat and then he becomes like the hook radius around him is his kill zone. And like that's how
Mm.
you make space because if you get anywhere near it, you're dead. That's what the like tack shooter meta was based off of. The only one who could even attempt to contest him in that space was Sigma.
I don't know how you'd even really change any of that with perks though.
No,
Like his design, and maybe at this point, they have a lot of characters. I don't think every character has to be super viable. Like maybe we're getting to that
yeah.
point where like we have characters for almost every niche. I feel like not that I'd want to throw away characters, but like Roadhog being silly hook man is maybe fine, and maybe he's just more of a quick play character. And I don't know, like I'd like to see him changed a little bit, but maybe we're just at the point where it's like you have to accept that some of these characters are never really going to be comp viable just based on design.
I think that it gets better as they add more heroes. Obviously, like it definitely like continues to be a little like that idea right where you leave some characters behind, but it is one I don't like the idea of leaving a character behind. I don't like the idea of all the work and effort just being like abandoned. I think all characters should be able to have their like be able to keep up with the game. But two, this is not like a fighting game where I just like, well, I'm just not going to choose Roadhog because he's not like I'm not going to choose Kuma in Tekken because he's just always a joke or like. But my tank, my Chungus ass tank. I didn't. This guy's just playing Roadhog all game. Like, what? I can't do anything about it. Like, that's the problem. Where it's like I want all the characters to be good, so that if I roll one on my team, I don't feel like I'm at a disadvantage. But I don't want Hog to be good because of what he's like now. So that's why I always like I'm an advocate for reworking and like super reevaluating characters because I don't want them to be frustrating, but I also don't want them to be just like turbo dog shit.
Yeah, that's fair. You're gonna get them on your team at some point, whether you like it or not. So
Exactly. And like the more characters they are in the game, the worse your Mercies and your Moiras and your Life Weavers. And right now Uyari I think is like in the doghouse too. Those kind of characters. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of effort, and I understand why they can't do it. And perks are kind of the way to remedy that, but I don't think it's gonna work so well like they think it is. Um, we talked about Winston. I don't think the Winston changes really deserve that much to talk about. Just some armor, health shifting, nothing drastic there. Um, Cassidy Deadeye change. I like the idea of his old Deadeye perk, but I understand why they got rid of it. Because you can't give him like too much of it back or else he just always has ult. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Regenerate 20 health per second for each enemy targeted by Deadeye. No way this is good. Like,
yeah, I
right?
feel like if you're using any perk on something that's only activated by your ultimate, it better be good, and you probably want it on an ultimate that's good.
Like, here's the thing, right? He gets a lot of damage reduction front loaded in Deadeye. So like he like, this is why I think it's backwards, right? Because when you activate Deadeye, that's where you're most likely to have most people in the ult, right? Before they run away. And that's when you also have the most damage reduction, so you don't need the healing per second. And then everyone scatters, and then when you start losing your damage reduction, you start putting yourself into a more risky position as you start, like, you start walking faster. That's when you need it more, but you don't have anyone in your sights when you do it. So like, it feels backwards to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this feels like another kind of throwaway perk. Like, I don't know. I can't see myself ever picking this one. I wonder if it counts, like, when you're not actively targeting someone, but like you still have the reticle
See,
on
that's what
them,
I
like if
was
they go behind
thinking.
walls, like does that count?
Yeah.
Even if it counts, I don't think, because if you can see all 5 people, you're getting 100 per second, which isn't nothing, but it's
Yeah.
like essentially being shot by like an Ana.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, would I spend one of my minor perks to be shot by an Ana in my ultimate?
I
Probably
don't
not.
I don't think I would. I don't think so.
And that's best case scenario
Yeah.
is it's like, yeah, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, they're a little confused with this guy. Freya. How much of Freya did you play during the trial?
Played a little bit, probably less than I normally play during the trial, because I think I was gone for like 2 of the 3 days.
Okay. Okay. Well, the I think like these changes overall aren't like, I was a little scared because I thought that her ult was underpowered overall, but
Yeah.
it's scary because Freya is exploitable, right? Because of the passive, right? And I think that is something that's like, even if the ult isn't very good, I think that we just haven't seen a team where like, people really understand how to like play with a Freya and allow her to just farm. And now that the ult is better, so that if you do farm, it makes ult farming like a better tactic, and I think an ult bot character is just bad in general. But then increasing the spread, or like before the spread hits on her primary fire, also encourages her to farm more often with like between final blows, especially when you combine it with her perks, right? The ones that do like slowing, and the when you shoot the bolt, the shot, you get more ammo back or whatever it is. That to me, it just like, it creates like a vicious feedback loop of shoot the tank, get a bunch of damage off the tank, just try to finish off a kill wherever possible, and just like build an ult, and an ult that is like much better now, you know. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think I played a bit with her. We had some people picking her in comp.
Oh,
Um, well, one of which was Daniel.
I heard that Alan was like, Daniel, you better never pick that character again.
And our fortunes did seem to change once that swap was made. Um, but yeah, she's interesting. It seems like she, especially with perks, has like a lot of uptime. Because she basically like gets her, she gets a third of her clip back every time she does her big shot, and then she can, she has 2 dashes which refresh the big shot, and so you can basically get, 2 clips back to back.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle to identify kind of where her niche is. Like I don't know. Like I guess she's supposed to be more of like a tracer type, or maybe more of a sojourn would be more accurate. Where you're like you're kind of chasing kills. You have decent mobility, but I'm not sure where I'm picking her over other characters. I guess, which I think will become more prevalent as we get more characters, right?
I
Like when we only had 30, it was a bit more clear,
I
and now we're up to
think, from
having
what
so
I can
many.
tell, I think she really wants to be flanking. She wants to be like prowling around, and in my opinion, I think she's going to be a greedy pick. I think she's going to be like a, hey, I don't think they're checking angles as much. I think they have like a harder stack team, or one that's like not as good of like checking. So let's play Freya and just go for like super fast like burst kind of like pressure from longer ranges. You know what I mean? And then maybe we can kind of snowball with her. But I think if you're going into a team that's like, you know, like Lucio with a tracer, right? Or something like that, like something like a faster, uh more like Winston, divey to an extent. I think Freya is like just going to suffer. Like she is not going to be able to do what she wants. Like sitting in the back line is I think really troll on this character.
Yeah, her darts from like anything longer than mid range are like impossible to hit. Like they're slow enough that it's difficult at that range.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I
I don't think she's very strong.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, we're big learning curve and we're gonna need to catch up, but yeah, she has not blown me out of the water. I almost wonder, like, I feel like we had this problem almost as far back as like Ash's release, where like Ash kind of came into a niche that was already filled by like Soldier
Mm-hmm.
and Cass. And I wonder if we just won't see new heroes get as actively picked up because like the past few heroes they've released outside of like when they were kind of overtuned, like I don't see much Hazard anymore. I see barely any Weaver, basically no Yari, and like yeah, they're all kind of weak, but it almost seems like I'm not sure we've really seen any strong character pickup since like Ramatra. Like,
I
has anyone come out after Ramatra that's really made a big impact?
I will say I think Hazard is still strong. I think he's just hard. I think now that he's
Yeah,
not as
Hazard is
like
definitely got a bit of a weird
not
kit.
as like he's not as like easy to pilot since his balance state has kind of come back down. I think a lot of people have just stopped getting value on him. So they've kind of like they've kind of pulled back a little bit. But yeah, are you saying like Ram launched? I'm sorry. Is what were you trying to say there about like?
Like, I wonder if we will see less of an attempt to incorporate new characters now that the roster has gotten so big that
Mm,
like maybe before you were like, okay, I need to pick up a brawl tank, so you're like, oh, like Ramantra's dropping, I can put that in, or like Queen just came out, I can try to learn her. I wonder if now everyone feels like, okay, like I'm kind of comfortable with what I'm at right now, so if this new character isn't really strong, do I have much of an incentive because most of the niches are already filled?
yeah, I see what you mean. I don't know because like even with characters like Ram, I think Ram in particular, like he didn't add anything new, like to the like archetype wise. Obviously, but he's got like his grenade or whatever.
He's the first tempo tank.
Yeah, exactly. My bad. How do I forget that? But yeah, like Ram didn't exactly add anything new. I mean, in fact, he launched poorly. He was not great at launch, and then they buffed him, and then he never ever died. But that was really more of a problem with how armor interacted, or like sorry, damage reduction stacking. Right? Do you
Yeah.
remember all of that? How it
Yeah,
stacked
if
with
you armor
armor?
and you were blocking, you were taking like 1%
It was
damage or
literally
something.
nothing. Like they had to like cap it at 50 or whatever. So I think that was just I almost bit the shit out of my lip. Sorry, I almost had a disaster on on camera. I think that was really more of like circumstance there. I see what you mean though. When a character doesn't provide, I guess it's like yeah, it's like Ash, right? A character doesn't provide like a super niche ability or like something completely new on the table. Because like I think when Venture came out, they were a little weak too, but like they still had a place as like the knockback, like super like engager DPS, right? Like kind of like tankier. And then who's after? Like Juno. I think Juno's like the super like AoE distance character. And there's a lot more. Another speed ring, of course. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. Like there hasn't like been a character in a while who is just like another one. Like Lifeweaver's got all this crazy stuff, and I think it wasn't. I think probably Ilyari is the only character I can think of as far back who's just like a DPS. Like, she just got shooting gun. You know what I mean? And she was only good because her gun was too powerful. Now she's like terrible, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think there is some merit to that. Will Freya find a place? I think she can because her passive is crazy on paper, but like in ranked, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder if it's kind of what you're saying, where like if you're wide queuing, you're like, all right, go put our ringer over there on Freya so he can rack up these ults because he's getting all the final blows anyway. But if you're kind of evenly matched in a lobby, it's like, well, maybe I just won't bother with this character.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, only time will tell. I need to see people like utilize her.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of room there, so I'll be interested to see.
Yeah. Let's move on now. I just want to quickly talk about this. Hanzo got his preservation back. Now, I do want to say that there's a reason he got it removed. Like, there's a reason we had to take this away from him because it's like super annoying. And now that he can one shot again, be on the lookout. But I do think he needs to have it in some capacity. I was always an advocate of he kept 50% of his charge so that he had some sort of threat when he popped over a wall, and if the circumstances were right, maybe he could kill somebody. Now he just has it back again. Like, we've done a full circle over the last like year and a half where he's just, I don't know. I think he's gonna be a lot better, especially now he's got this like projectile speed increase on the storm arrows as well to be a little more lethal against, I would say, against squishier targets at range, which I think he kind of needs. We'll see how this goes. I think this is I think people are sleeping on this. I haven't heard anyone talk about Hanzo yet.
I'm just glad it's back. It just feels right.
It does feel a lot better.
It's one of those changes that you made, like they made forever ago, and I was like, man, this feels good. And then I was really sad when it was gone.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't see too much Hanzo. We'll see if that changes anything.
All right, here we go. Controversial one here. Mei can freeze enemies again. What do we feel?
We're so back.
Why?
I love playing Mei. I definitely, my percentage of Mei in my games is vastly in my favor versus seeing enemy Meis. So I don't mind they're getting more annoying because it's mainly me. But man, when we were playing Overwatch Classic, every time I got froze by Mei, it was so jarring. I don't know. I can't even remember the last time I played against a Mei outside of Stadium. Like, the last time I saw Mei in a game, I couldn't tell you. So we'll see. I wonder if it'll also be kind of weird, because, like, most of the perks, you don't really have to, like, exactly track. Like, you're like, oh, every once in a while, you're like, oh, yeah, they got this or whatever. This one is like, am I gonna be like playing against the Mei and randomly I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I frozen? Like, I wonder if that's gonna feel like adding a stun on a perk. I wonder if that will feel very strange because it's just like you're halfway through the match and now you're getting frozen. I also wonder, and I still don't know if this is a hot take, but I still don't really like the everyone gets perks in overtime. I wonder if this is gonna make her very strong in overtime. Because I think that's a pretty big buff to have that right off rip. Like, there's multiple characters you just can't really play into that.
Especially on, like, defenses and stuff.
Yeah, like, if they come out on, like, a diva or, like, a hazard or a queen, like, you're feeling really bad going into deep freeze.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is... I'm not excited about this, I'm not gonna lie. I just think it is... There's a reason it's gone. And I do think Mei needs a gameplay loop with her, with her a primary fire again, because it feels like something has been missing from her. I've been an advocate of bringing back a weak version of like Deep Chill or something that she had a while ago in like season 3. I did not want full freeze back. I wanted something where she has to interact differently with her primary fire as she slows or does whatever to the enemy. Freezing them just feels really bad, and now that there's a lot of tanks that have no like mitigation of any regard,
Yeah, I
like
think she's gonna. I don't know.
like
She's
Queen
been
can't
super popular,
do
but
anything against this
I think she's
now.
gonna be really strong. Like she might be like I need to go play Zarya, or I need to go play something that isn't
Yeah.
as oppressively hit by this, because
Yeah,
I
because
don't
like
know.
thinking
That
about
that could get
Cass,
scary.
right? Like, imagine like flashbang still exists as a stun, right? Queen can't function at all. Like she's not allowed
Yeah,
to axe at
Queen just
all.
gets
Exactly, right? Like I think Mauga probably also like he can get his run canceled. You know what I mean? Before it starts, May could do it too. You know that kind of stuff. So anything that you can think of that would be like, wow, flashbang, like stun flashbang, would be really bad. It's gonna apply with May as well.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't.
a little nervous with this change. As a Mei player, I'm excited. As
Yeah.
someone that will probably play against the Mei, a little more scared.
Yeah, yeah. Tom, I want you to take me away here while I was gonna text somebody real quick. Start going off about Sombra. I want to hear what you think because I honestly don't know what I feel about the Sombra perk changes.
I feel like Sombra's perks so unbelievably bad before, like especially her major perks were just not. They just were not good. Um, the hacking increasing stealth duration. Let's see, what is her other minor perk? Is it the kill you get virus back? I think is
Yeah.
her other minor perk.
Which one did they
Or no,
remove? No, they removed that one.
it's the teleport away health recharge.
Right, right, right.
Um dude, I think the teleporting away health recharge kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It like I don't know, the health regen is not that fat. Like it's really nice out of combat. It's not good in combat. Like you teleport out and you're like, "Oh, sick, I teleport," cuz you have to be low health too. You teleport out and you're like, "Oh, I was at 30," and it's like, "Okay, if I wait like 5 seconds, I'll be back to full." So it's like, I guess I'm probably going to be taking this hack duration. I don't know that I don't know. It being longer allows you to have your TP up after your stealth. I don't know. This will be one I definitely want to play with. I like playing Sombra. I haven't liked her as much since the kind of the most recent rework. um I think this new I'm really bad with 8 meters. Maybe that's not as big as I'm thinking, but that seems very good to me. Is like you get a hack on the cast standing next to the brawl core, and you throw a virus in there and it hits everyone. Spreads the DPS passive. I don't know. I think that could be really good, but the 8 meters is just so like I just can't picture that at all.
The thing about it, I think that this is actually going to be the best for when Sombra finds a duo. When she finds like a Lucio or whoever else on the flank, because I think in an actual brawl core, it's way harder for her to get the hack off and then virus and
Or
actually
like
hit it.
a mercy pocket. You hack the mercy
Ooh,
virus here and it's
yeah,
the pocket as well.
exactly. I think that's actually
Just kidding. They're both banned anyway, so.
as much as I'm a little concerned about this, I think in practice it will be really weak into the things that would actually like make it concerning. Like I think it gives Sombra a fighting chance to maybe not even necessarily win a 2v1, but to force like to actually check
Yeah,
an
actually apply some
angle.
pressure in
Yeah,
those rather than just getting forced out really easy.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I don't know, her other perks were just not good. So
yeah.
I'm glad they're trying something, and I'm sure, especially with all the new perks, they'll see like, okay, if the win rate's terrible, they'll buff it up to 10 meters or something. So I'm excited that they showed Sombra a little bit of love.
Am I crazy? Is this minor perk worthless?
I
Why would
feel like
I need to get out of stealth the hack to do anything with the hack. Like the hack is 1 second long. Like
yeah, the only thing I can think of is it gets your TP back up. Because before there's like a second where like you're out of stealth but you don't have TP back. So I guess if you hack, you now have
oh
a full loop of that, I think it's probably better than her other minor one, but I don't know that either is very good.
Be careful if
But
they ever increase hack duration, that perk becomes scary. I think.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. This is what I want to play with
Yeah.
and see how it feels
Yeah.
because
Okay.
I think it could feel better than it reads.
Yeah, I think so too. I think all these are pretty whatever. Groggy just does 50.
How do you feel about Groggy dealing damage?
Why does Groggy do damage, man?
Yeah, I don't.
It's not
Groggy
a bad
really good. I don't know
perk.
why they felt the need to.
Like I understand they did nerf
add
it to an
damage.
extent, but like, yeah, it wasn't bad by any means. Biotic Bounce getting the nerf, I think, is probably.
I think that's fine. You weren't really doing it for the damage anyway. And
Well, remember it also
when you got like double damage on it, it felt kind of bad.
Remember it also scales with self nano as well. You kind of have to think about that too. So like when she self nanoed, then she get extra damage from bio because it would bounce twice. So I think that's probably part of it as well. Yeah, Ana is still strong. Can we just give her back some of that bio nade cooldown because she feels really bad with like she's strong but she feels bad.
The nade cooldown, I've definitely been feeling it.
Yeah.
Definitely been feeling it.
Okay. I've crunched some numbers with BAP.
Been in the lab.
If you hit the maximum value, the direct hit. So let's just say I'm like pumping into my tank, right? It's going up from 70 to 90, which is crazy. But
wow, you crunched that number?
No, that's not the only number I've crunched. If you hit all of them in the 10 round burst, obviously that's 900, right? If you hit all of them in the 13 with 70, that's 910. So, in the span of the 10 bullets as compared to the 13, so like basically his healing per second is going up pretty dramatically. I don't know how long reload takes on BAP, but like I think his healing per second maximum capability is probably going up like 25%. And if you're not hitting all of them, let's say like you just it's like on average or like with the splash hits and everything, then it's probably more like 20, 15, whatever. I think the scariest thing about it is that since the explosion was increased as well, like that is a lot of AoE healing on top of regen burst that he can provide in a faster period of time.
Yeah, his numbers are a little crazy now. I don't know if they've fixed the fact that I just think his ult kind of stinks. Like
I mean, it doesn't stink.
It doesn't. It's not worthless, but like, is it the worst? The worst healer?
Now, okay. Think about it this way though. He's gonna be getting a lot more of them.
That's true. I guess to me the thing is like, when I have nano, I'm like, all right, this is a fight game changer. You know, when I have beat, I'm like, I can completely deny a push. When I have window, I'm like, God, I hope I don't like accidentally put this on a rock and then I can't see anything. Like it's just so awkward to get value out of, and it's so easy to kite. Like rush, I can rush around a corner and onto the objective to where like if we get pushed back or we can push in and I'm covering both. Whereas window is like, okay, I'm windowing as they come. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I delayed the game 8 seconds.
In Overwatch 2, I think you have to use it a lot more selfishly, right? Like it's a lot more like I don't think you can necessarily open fights with it as much. Like I think it's actually a lot better like mid fight when you just kind of like catch them off guard, and just try to find somebody. But like as somebody who had to play BAP for like 2 years, in like every night in scrims, I see a lot of value with window. So and you know, it is also his numbers have gone up, so now they're going up through the window. So you can just like hard bunker, like you're going to be doing 100 AoE healing per shot, and then upwards of what would that be, like 135 if you direct or something. I'm just doing napkin math in my brain, but Yeah, I don't know. That's not insignificant.
Pretty gross.
Yeah.
I wish they had buffed his damage, because I worry that like him and Ana and Kiri now all kind of exist in like high healing, and not that they don't do any damage, but
yeah,
I wish BAP had been pushed more towards like a true 50-50 versus like just kind of dumping him in the this guy poops out healing category.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like if you buffed his damage numbers a little bit, that would give him more of an identity than this will.
I think you're right. You can take Assault Burst without feeling as bad about it now, if that makes you feel any better, because it's got
Assault. I can't. Was anyone picking that perk?
No, because
as soon as I read that, I was like, this. I was like, this has to be worthless.
Well, it didn't do any instant healing, but now it does. So
I was like, yeah, I don't want this.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little like, I think BAP just can't keep up anymore.
Perks are also kind of. Ugh.
Like, I don't like, regardless of what his numbers are, I just don't think BAP can keep up with how fast this game plays. He wants to slow it down, and the like damage mitigation doesn't work like it used to. And ever since then, BAP has been pretty much worthless, except for like really specific, like Sig metas. Remember like Sig Bastion, but that I can't remember if that was before how armor like damage mitigation changed. I literally don't remember. Like, it has been like, that's the last time I can remember BAP being like relevant, was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I just that's the thing. Without extra damage, I don't know why I'm ever picking BAP over Kiri.
Yeah,
because I think Bell is better than Immo in like 99% of cases, and it's on half the cooldown.
Yeah,
Kitsune's better than Window. She's faster. She's more evasive. I just don't. And not to mention her perks are really strong, whereas I think his are kind of whatever.
Now, they may shoot me. They may not want to hear this. And again, like, we changed BAP's numbers a little bit. Maybe BAP's got to be 275.
Oh.
Maybe he needs some more.
The thick teeth.
Maybe he needs a little bit more bulk so that he's not as like susceptible, because like, you don't want to lamp yourself. His mobility is not great. It is pretty niche.
I kind of wish they'd move his dashing perk to a minor.
Yeah.
Because it feels really bad to get it online that late in the game. Like, if I am getting it that late in the game, I already haven't been able to rely on it, so I'm playing it on a comp where I don't need it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if it was a minor perk, it would feel a little bit more core to his identity, where I'm like, okay, I'll suffer the first few fights, but having that dash will really feel nice.
Yeah, you're right, because you have to get all the way to the major perk to finally be able to like stop getting dove. Yeah, I think
like, it's not that like, it's good, it's fine, but it's not like, you're not like, haha, I've gotten away from you, Winston. It's like,
it's on like a 6-second cooldown still. Like,
yeah, it's not Sojourn Sled.
I think you're right. I think the rest of these are nothing that's like really.
I'm glad for the 6v6 change for Zen. He was really impressive in 6v6.
Yeah, that's a really good one. But the rest of these are pretty tame. Also, we should probably get moving on to Stadium, because it's been a little bit.
Yeah, I am a little surprised Weaver didn't get the April Fool's rework. I thought that was gonna come.
I don't remember what that was. What was that?
It was like his weapon was slower, but it seeked, and it automatically had the thing where it explodes when it hits enough. I think to make him a little less like aim. I don't know. It didn't feel good, but I thought a reworked version could be interesting.
I see what you mean, but like, I think getting rid of like the only mechanical skill this character has would just feel really bad.
Hard to hit E.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for me maybe. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that's for the balance. I think like this patch is I don't know. We'll have to see. There's a lot. I know they weren't gonna go like super, what's it called, like super crazy on what they changed. Like, I think we're gonna get more refreshes in like a season or two, where they actually like shake up a lot of them. But definitely some of these needed to change, and I think we need to see a couple of more. But
yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think the balance was already in a good spot, and I feel like they tried to shake a few things up, and I don't.
Yeah.
Other than God, how did they miss Sojourn, man?
I
don't know what data they're seeing on the back end, but I don't know how you
I
can
don't I
look at Sojourn.
I wonder if they're afraid to nerf Sojourn too much because you know what? Nobody wants to say it, but sometimes when Soj ain't meta, the game kind of sucks.
Yeah,
she's like a necessary evil.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate it. I wish they just could have thicked her down just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. As a Soj player, like I agree. I think she's always she's a little too strong. But anyway, speaking of a little too strong, let's talk about Stadium finally. Let's talk about
Stadium time.
Yeah, so again, Tom and I got to play this early. We got to be a part of, I don't know what they call it, like the alpha playtest, whatever. We're going to call it the alpha. I think it's just the best way to kind of like make it clear. We were on NDA at that time, so I can't show you any footage of what it looked like, mainly because I think it's just they don't want people seeing like the unfinished UI and all of that.
It looked very similar, but with less textures.
Exactly, right? There was like the maps that were polygonal. You didn't
miss anything crazy.
Then they showed off the Rome map without it being finished. Like it was still not completely art finished, but there were a couple other maps. The one in Korea, I can't remember the name of it. It's like on the bridge point. It's the best way I can describe it. That one wasn't finished, and I think that was the only one other than that. But anyways, yeah, some of the stuff wasn't finished. I think it just looks bad. They don't want to see like that footage circulating when they just launched this big new mode. So I can't show you any footage, but I can talk about it. Like I can talk about like what we saw. They just didn't want us to talk about like super broken builds from the beta, if I remember, like any like bugs or exploits, which I don't think I even knew anything. Like I wasn't like going and talking to people in the.
There were some bugs, but I don't think outside of that.
I wasn't like talking to people about like in the Discord about like, oh, what's some crazy build that you know. So that's not really where we're coming from here. I think I guess before we start, what have been your impressions of Stadium so far? Now that you've played it for a while, you played it in the live game. How are you feeling about it just right now as having a little more experience than the most people?
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's true.
I struggle to see it ever becoming a core game mode of mine. I think because when they first announced it, I was super excited because like I'd really gotten into Deadlock. I'd gotten a little burnt out on that recently, but like I liked the idea of a MOBA, but with shooting mechanics, and that's kind of what I was getting with Deadlock. And I was like, oh, like my favorite game is now like kind of doing the same thing. But it's very different in the way that I don't think the itemization is much more personal focused. Like in Deadlock, you'll be buying like lots of counter items. You know, if they're going a healing build, you'll go like, okay, I need some anti-heal items or something like that. I don't think there's as much of a focus in that in Stadium, which I think kind of aligns with Overwatch. You know, like they removed all the stuns and stuff. I think they want it to feel more like focused on you doing cool things rather than shutting down other people. I think what they're kind of going for with that. But to me, it then felt very much like I don't know how much I'll be shaking up my build. Like I'll kind of try a new hero. I'm like, okay, this feels really strong. And because the items don't change match to match, like, am I not just gonna be buying pretty much the same thing every time?
I think part of that comes down to the powers, because powers are permanent, right? Like the items are not. You can do whatever you want with the items and your money, but powers are permanent. And you can, I think in theory, like, so far what I can tell is that the best way to do it is to start on a power that is going to be really good to branch off from, and then figure out how you're going to branch from there, unless your character has a super, like, crazy build, like Juno's got I call it the bomber build, where she just has pulsar, like, rockets firing at you at all times. But other than that, like, I think you kind of want to like branch in, like, okay, you know, I'm gonna do something like with Reinhardt charge, but like, do I need to get the flying one, or I'll like for example, Ryan, like I'll start with the one where he charges with the shield, right? Then I can figure out like do I need a little bit more like mobility to get around the map? Do I think I'm like falling behind there? I'll build like the flying one. Maybe instead I want to use charge as like an unstoppable demon, so then I build the item that gives me, knockback resistance, and then build into charge specifically rather than like using charge. Like there's a way in theory that a lot of it can work, but I agree, like as the game goes on, your build gets like stuck. There aren't enough hero specific items to change your game plan. Because I like the fact that there are items that will change how, like, what you do even after you've picked stuff like that. There just are not enough of them. In fact, there are a couple of characters where you'll go to like the weapon or like one of the tabs and they won't have a hero specific item in the like the legendary slot. And it's like, well, like, what's the point?
I was really surprised because I don't think when we did the playtest we knew when it was coming out.
We knew Stadium would come out at the beginning of this season.
On 16. I still don't really feel like it's ready. To me, this kind of feels like another playtest. Like there feels like a lot of kind of rough edges around it. Like it's fun to play, but there's a lot of things where I'm like, this is like there's still items that don't work on certain characters that are on them. Like I had on Genji still has items that say after you heal an ally, and it's like that is technically possible.
I think that is by design. I don't know why the DPS have those items. That's a different question, but I'm saying like I think it is by design, like because you're supposed to, you share a pool of items with other characters. So like in theory you like kind of give up the max potential value an item could give you if you wanted something like whatever, like extra attack power or whatever. If you're going for that, like let's say for example it gives you raw 15% attack power and something else, when another item would give you like 10% attack power, but something that you could, in theory, use. You kind of have to weigh it. It's like, what's better? Do I just want to like, keep building that? I think that is by design. I don't think that's necessarily awkward, but it is weird that a lot of the DPS characters will like have some ability, like an item like that. Like I thought they were like, tanks have this pool of items, DPS have this pool of items, and like there's some overlap. But I think there are a lot of them that are like, well, my character can't do anything with this thing, so like, what's the point?
Yeah, I just find there's a lot of items where I look at them and I read them and I go I don't know how this will function.
Yeah.
Like there's an item that it says like 8% health, 8% armor, 8% shields. And when I was playing I was like, this is insane. I'm getting like 25% health and like 2/3 of that is like a good type of health. Like heck yeah. So I bought it and then I was like, that's weird. I don't have any armor or shields. And then I realized it's only buffing. I would have had to already have armor and shield.
Percentage based.
That amount.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's some things like that where like it doesn't work exactly how you think it would, and I don't think that would bother me as much if I feel like Overwatch is very much the gold standard of like things work how you think they should. Like abilities generally feel very intuitive, and like the game is kind of readable and makes sense most of the time, and I feel like Stadium is definitely at a lower level in that.
Yeah, that is definitely, I think there's just a lot that doesn't exist in regular Overwatch. Like the fact that like for instance, like you'll get some powers and they'll say like this does this damage and it has it like as ability power damage, right? So then you have to think like that use scales with ability power. That's nothing you've ever thought about that.
Update. The text doesn't update. Like if I buy an ability power item and then I go back to that, it still says 30 and then it has the little icon. I'm like, why doesn't that tell me like this is now doing 60 damage?
Yeah,
like,
other MOBA games, like I know like League kind of does this stuff where, or like TFT in particular, will be like, it does this flat damage as AP damage plus this percentage, like of your max whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and I think they don't want to get stuck in the weeds of all of that, but they do need to do a better job. Maybe like a glossary would help. Or some better like training mode tools I think would probably be better about like, hey, just like pull up a list.
Into the practice range for Stadium? Because there was in the playtest.
Is there not in the real game?
It is right now.
Oh.
Because if you go click on the Stadium tab, it shows the 3 roles.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way to get into a practice range from there. And then when I went and clicked on the practice range tab, as far as I could tell, there was not a way to get in.
I didn't know that. They need to do that.
It's possible I just completely missed it, but
I think it's possible that they missed it.
If I missed it, then it should be more obvious.
My guess is that they forgot, or that was only there as a necessity in the playtest, and it wasn't like actually a complete version of what they wanted it to be. I think it should just be there regardless. But yeah, that I don't know.
Like that's the kind of things where it's like that's the little thing where it's like that seems important. Like was this missed or like I don't know. Like that feels I don't know. We have experience with it, but like when I was playing with friends the other day, especially because it's I mean the first 2 ranks don't matter. Like you literally can't lose ranked points.
Yeah.
But it feels like you're queuing into a ranked game. It's like your first game ever. You're like, okay, I'm in a ranked game and I don't know what any of this stuff does, and I'm trying to read all this stuff at the same time. It's like it's very overwhelming.
Yeah,
it's like I feel like
is.
they really should have a practice range, especially if you're only gonna have the mode in ranked.
Yeah, and the thing is that like it's casual ranked. It's like not. It's not like it's a different system. So basically, instead of like the number that you see being how it matches you up, the number that you see is kind of just worthless, and there's an MMR that's matching you up in the back, and kind of like putting games together that way. So far I have found that to be a really bad solution because I have played in the playtest. I know generally what's going on a little more, and I played with friends the other day, and on my first day I think I won 1 game in 4 hours, and I'm like, I'm in rookie 5. Like how can I not win in rookie 5 when I am a masters player in regular Overwatch? You know what I mean? So like, I'm not going against the general pool of people with my friends. We are going against people of our skill, and like none of us actually have that much experience with it. So we're all at the same like Overwatch regular skill level, instead of me playing against anyone at the stadium level. And I think that's why the games have felt so frustrating to me, is that like in theory there should be a skill discrepancy because we're all getting thrown into a ranked system at the same time. Like a ranked system has to build, like it has to get ironed out. It can't be like they can't make it up at the beginning because I don't have any rank. Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, I have not played a game that has gone longer than 4 maps, I think. I think I have stomped every single game that I've been in. And like they just haven't I don't know, the games have not been feeling very back and forth. And maybe that's just people like, you know, people don't know what to do when you're down an economy or something, and maybe you know the general knowledge level needs to go up. But yeah, the matchmaking has not felt great or fair.
Yeah. I don't know if that will even out over time, but I think with the MMR, I don't think it will. Like the way that they have the solution, like it would even out over time if it wasn't based on MMR, because people would start climbing, and then like, you know, it would be more people left behind who actually are supposed to be closer to rookie 5, and then I would be able to climb over them finally. Like, you know what I mean? If I kept getting unlucky.
It's like, so I need to grind, but is my MMR actually like changing with wins? And it's like, okay, so if I win a bunch in rookie, then am I blasting my MMR to the moon, and then I'm gonna start losing rank when I actually get into the ranks that you can lose rank in?
Yeah.
It feels very strange to not have the feedback of like normal rank.
And it's just like you always have to play ranked, which like I understand they don't want to split queues. Like I'm not saying it's a bad decision. And I actually do really like how it's got like it has rewards for getting different levels, which I can't believe they're only putting into Stadium instead of like the actual video game. And it's like more generous because you can't like lose, and you win a lot more than you lose once you even get into the point where you can lose SR or whatever. But I just want to like get in and like play a game casually. Like I feel like there's always pressure on me to perform when it's ranked. And like I'm trying to like, everyone's getting mad at me when I was playing this on a build the other day, but like I want to experiment. Like I don't want to just sit here and play Juno only to win. Like I want to have fun with the silly game mode that they've added.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just so hard because the power discrepancy between some of these builds is just substantial. So it feels like I'm punished.
It feels like you have to hammer straight down a line of a build. Like you cannot split. If you split your attention, like you get nuked by the Juno super bomber.
Healing is so oppressive in this. There were so many games where like there was one game I was playing D.Va, and I understand D.Va is kind of weak, but I did over the course of multiple rounds, I was like, okay, this round I'm going to do only AP micro missiles. I'm going to make sure I can kill something. Right? All I want to do, like there's one item where you do more damage when they're less health. I'm like, that's perfect. So many times I've gotten them down, or like I try to chase somebody who's low and they just somehow like outpace me, right? So I'm like, I'm either building like full AP into micro missiles, or I'm like, okay, never mind, I'm going to do attack speed and AD and just like blow them up. Everything I tried, I couldn't get a single kill on this character. I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Like I'm literally like changing up my entire build, like items wise, after every round, praying for a solution that just I cannot find. Like it literally just does not come whatever I do. So like it feels like so frustrating. Like, yes, I understand you can't change your characters, and I know why you can't change your characters. But like I can't change my powers either. Which I also understand why you can't do, but like that is what really I think matters. If there is a way to give up an extra power to change one of the ones you already had, I would take it in a heartbeat. I think that might actually like legitimately be the only way to like get around like you started building like the wrong thing and then you get like counter built because you've got like a bad perk, you know what I mean, or power.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's still early, but yeah, the power disparity of certain characters feels kind of insane.
I also the one thing I also want to talk about, and by the way, we are complaining a little bit, but like I think in general we do like this mode.
It's fun.
It is fun in theory, but like when you put it out to the masses as a competitive mode right away, I think we're gonna be a little harsher on it because
if it was like we didn't complain about the Halloween mode.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
When it's the silly mode, but yeah, if you want me to take your mode seriously, I'm gonna
I'll do it.
Comment on how to make it better.
I am really struggling to understand why the economy like how the economy works when you get points when a team. I'm like, I am down.
Random.
Like there's been games where like I'm down 3-1 and somehow I have more money. So I'm not getting as much money as the people who are about to win the game. Like I don't understand like how this is like, and like bounties are like a cool idea in theory, but the problem with bounties is that the buffs that you get in game, like before you can build items, are so minuscule that collecting mid-match doesn't matter. You have to get to the next match to make sure you can use that money. And at that point, you're down even further. You know what I mean? Like it feels like this mode snowballs itself. And even if you do start making a comeback, the game starts allowing the other team that's still miles ahead of you to make a comeback as well. And like I don't know, it feels really frustrating how the economy just is. It just seems like it does whatever it wants to.
Yeah, it seems very stat focused, which I think will definitely hurt some characters. Like if I'm playing more of a
supporting role, and I'm hitting, like you were playing Ana, and it's like there were later rounds where you weren't throwing my games.
Yeah.
Where you
Well,
were...
it took a minute to make it work, and like that's kind of like the problem.
But like the anti-nades are good, but they're just not giving you that much stat. And then it's like, okay, so I'm playing my role correctly, but I'm being punished for it because I'm not getting any coins. And if I don't get any coins, then like I'm squishier. I can't build into more items. Like it just, I don't know. It's the feel of it is a little. I don't know if it's quite there. I don't know what I do to exactly address it, but something feels, which is kind of what I'm saying. Like something just feels off. It doesn't feel quite finished to me. I don't know.
I think just like the way that the power creeps up through the game is that I think it gets to a point where it becomes uninteractive, to where it's just so chaotic and so like there was this one fight I had, and again I'm going to use this D.Va example because this game it was just crazy. I was playing D.Va doing literally nothing. I can't kill anything, can't do anything. I feel like I'm in danger the whole time. We had like a 2-minute fight where like I was never ever going to get demeched because my team is keeping me up. But it doesn't matter because I don't have the damage to do anything by myself. So I wonder if there is a world where either the money all comes down where you get less of it, or all items come down, which I think is a lot harder, and then the stat bonuses that you get from money go up so that you're more incentivized to like do well. But then it's you're so much more likely to create these, or so much less likely to create these crazy builds with items that just make it, you know what I mean? Because the item buffs are way better than just like the straight money buffs. So if you can have less of those, then I think the game is more stable for longer, because I think it goes off the rails really quickly. And then you have to just play all these extended, like, extra rounds where it feels like the power plateau has happened so long ago. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of feels futile at that point.
Yeah, I think there also might be a bit of an issue where survivable tanks, if you do certain builds, they are like just basically invincible. Like we were playing some Orisa in a playtest, and they had Fortify on cooldown like every 3 seconds, and they had like 1200 health or something silly, and it's like our entire team was trying to focus this person down, and it's like they cannot die, and I worry about the balance of builds and also the balance of fun builds versus strong builds, and yeah, I don't know. It's I worry how it will shake out in a few weeks once like the goodwill of a big new mode has worn off a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough. It's I think it's because I also haven't I've gotten to play this mode early, right? I think that's why I'm kind of like instantly frustrated.
Yeah, because we saw all these things happen. Like these aren't new. Like there were broken builds before, there were invincible builds before. Like they just it didn't feel like they iterated that much between the playtest and even like we had access to the server, and then again before, like a week before this launched, and then the launch. Like it didn't feel like anything really dramatically shifted.
Yeah, my like experience with the alpha is that I played like one game when it came out, and then I didn't get to play until like the very end of it, like the very last play session. At that point, I played like 3 games. They were all 3-0 washes. Like I could not do anything in those modes, and I think that was because I think people have figured out like the broken builds, and I didn't even understand what was going. Like I'm still trying to read everything. But it just did not feel good at all. And I think also part of the problem is that Stadium is so not individual to an extreme fault. Like, if someone gets super behind on money, it gets really tough to keep back. If you have a lever, actually unwinnable game mode. Like, unlike Overwatch, where, like, in theory, like, regular Overwatch, in theory, you could kind of, like, fight back or whatever. If you have a lever in Stadium, it is like complete GG, go next. Don't even attempt to waste your next half hour trying to play this game mode. Just to leave and requeue.
Yeah, I don't like the sort of steamrolly nature where, like, once one team gets up 2 games and now they have a money lead going into the third one, and it's like I don't know how you stop that without, like, I know in Deadlock they have like a objective that is you get more money for completing it if you're the team that's down. And I know, like, the Overwatch has a thing where, like, when you're down a certain percent you get like a boost in how many coins you get, but you just can't win fights if you're like 20k down. Like, most of the time they just have enough items and resources that they're probably just, because that means their team was already probably better than yours anyway. Like, whoever's winning the first map is pretty much just who's ever better at Overwatch in general, right? So then if you're giving them, like, an extra 10% stat buff to the team that's already probably better than yours, it makes it really hard to dig out of the hole.
Yeah, and again, like, with how bounties work and like having to wait until the next round, at some point there's not going to be a next round, like you're
The
not going to be able
bounties
to.
are also like, how it's very infrequent, I feel like, in this game mode that you don't team wipe.
Yeah,
Like, because it's very much like you have to, you're playing for each map. So, like, because you have to be kind of all in every single map, basically every time you team wipe. So the individual bounties, I don't know that they would feel any different from like team wide bounties.
exactly. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It seems. I feel like
Do
I
you see
don't
this
have.
becoming a core game mode for you? Like, do you
Not
do
at
you
all.
think?
Not at all. Listen.
Like,
I'm
if you had to
having
estimate,
fun.
like 90% Overwatch, 10% Stadium, or like
I'll
like where
give
do you
it.
think you're
I'll
at?
give it a good shot because there are cosmetics like tied to it. Like, I will attempt to play it, and you get like a nice like boost to your like weeklies and stuff because you get 2 games even if you lose, and you get 4 games if you win. So like
Oh,
it's yeah. So it doesn't feel like you're getting like cheated out of like all that time you played. So like I can imagine myself like trying to play it, at least trying to get to the level to get like the silver ones or whatever. But like I cannot imagine a world where I just grind Stadium to get like the Juno skin. You know what I mean? Like I think as the seasons go on, like I'll try the new characters when they come out because I think it sounds like they're going to be a little aggressive adding characters. I need to watch that dev update, but it sounds like at least one a season, but it sounds like maybe like one in the mid season as well.
God, I hope it's more than one a season.
Yeah, I don't know
'Cause
how
how
they.
many heroes do we have in there right now? Like 12?
I don't.
It's probably more than that.
I
There's
don't
probably
know.
there's probably five
I don't know how
five
long
per
it
tier at
takes.
15.
How long would it really take to build a stadium hero? You just need to have 12 powers and then a couple of character specific items and make sure they work. They like gets kind
I
of
have
lit.
to imagine that it's a lot of the work coinciding with perks. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of
Exactly.
overlap between powers and perk reworks and
My
stuff like that.
my my guess is that there isn't really that much extra work, at least to the extent that like obviously I'm not saying it's not nothing. Like obviously it takes a lot, but I'm saying like I don't think it is to that extreme level of like we're gonna get one character every 2 seasons or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's nowhere near that level.
I would hope they're. I think you have to do 2 a season, or it's gonna feel really. Because
I need to watch that director's
I've
take because I think somebody said that Freya is already like planned for like this mid season or something. And if I'm wrong, I don't know what I'm talking about. I understand, but um, yeah, I don't know. I think that will be really good for Stadium to keep getting more heroes in. Just because like one more hero means like 3 or 4 more wacky builds, right? And if you do that like every month, then the game kind of starts coming into its own because it feels less samey overall, and then you can get more variety with who you like, what you're playing, right? What you're playing into. And if that's fast, then that's good. Like a lot of the variety right now comes from all the just it being new. But as you continue to grow, like it's just gonna exponentially make it more interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the type of game that's like gonna thrive on being complex and having lots of different team interactions.
Yeah.
Like,
you're speed boosting your flying Rhine or something silly.
I
think
I do want to get your opinion on something. How has your experience been with performance so far?
Oh, like how's the game
yeah,
actually
how
running?
is it running? Because I thought about that before it came out, and I was like, isn't this gonna like isn't this like a lot of extra stuff that they need to like be careful of? Like,
That's a good point. I haven't noticed. My computer generally runs like I run a 144 hertz, and I think my computer generally runs Overwatch around 180. So like I probably wouldn't notice up to like a 40 frame dip, but I don't recall noticing anything too much. I also wonder if that's something they do have to consider, where it's like, Moira has one where she like spawns 3 orbs. It's like, okay, do we need to worry about them
yeah.
spamming that 3 times and
So
having
so
9 orbs on the battlefield or something?
so I got two things here. One is about my computer, right? So when I play on stream to make my 1080p monitor usable, while I'm full screened in an application, I actually have to play in 4K because otherwise it expands the aspect ratio, or like it blows up the image too much. And if I tab out, then all the stuff goes back to what it's supposed to be, so you can't actually like drag anything. It's a nightmare. So I have to play in 4K when I stream. So I typically just default to that. Stadium has the FPS counter always above I think my monitor now is 160. It always has it above that number. However, I think the frame pacing is really like struggling to keep up. Like I think it actually is a choppier experience overall for me. I have kind of felt it in a couple of like, not to like a terrible degree, but I've definitely felt it. What I wanted to the reason I wanted to bring this up is because when I saw this game mode was coming, I said, "Oh my god, this thing runs on the Nintendo Switch." You know what I mean? I have heard that like base PS4 is a rough experience.
Wait, do I need to go download Overwatch 2
So
on my
I
Switch and
actually
see if
so
this
I
runs?
actually really want to do a stream where like I boot up the Switch 2 version or the Switch version and just see like, just first off to just check in like how Overwatch plays nowadays, but two, to see Stadium running on this just complete, I don't have it here, on this one, this portable handheld from 2017. How is this thing holding up with Stadium? Because if my computer
I'll
is
do okay
dropping
with you on the
frames,
Switch.
yeah, if my computer drops frames, then there's no way in hell that this thing has any shot of like functioning, right? I want to get it to crash.
Maybe that's the meta Stadium build is particle overload, and then we can just crash the server consistently.
Exactly. So I'll probably announce that stream whenever I do it, because I will stream it. I think that's like a really funny thing. If I fuck up all of my stats or get banned because my accounts are all linked up, then whoops. Uh-oh.
A small price to pay.
Yeah, a small price to pay for 500 views. Anyways, so yeah, it's I think they gotta be like, that is like a really tough balancing act that like, obviously on our PCs, like we don't mind, because like Overwatch is a very well optimized game and you can play this thing on kind of anything, even if we are playing at like at higher frame rates. But again, like the console players are like really in the trenches with this one if they want to play. Like it's really pushing the limits of their hardware. And
yeah, go slap a new graphics card in your PS4.
Yeah, it's super easy. Yeah, just get in contact with Sony real quick. Hey, you guys.
You guys making the 5080 in here or no?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's something I'm trying to think. Is there anything else about Stadium that you want to talk about while I see if there's anything else I want to say?
I don't know. Go give it a shot. Don't let us trash talk it too hard. I think it's still a good time. Not to go on another deadlock rant, but I think the powers, I worry about them locking you into one build too much, because the powers are very much like, they're typically like, you're playing Ashe, and it's like boost dynamite or boost coach gun or boost Bob,
and I worry that you'll never get to a point where you can successfully mix and match.
Yeah.
Which I feel like might take away some of the fun. If it's like, wow, you can play, there's so many powers, and it's like, yep, but if you pick this one, you have to pick these next two. So there's really only 3 ways to play this character.
I see the worry, but I think a lot of them are built to where they kind of synergize with each other. So like Orisa has the spear that pulls people in, right? You hit the spear and it like grabs them back to where they were hit. But there's another one, the one I talked about earlier, where you can shoot a spear out of your spin. So if you buy the spear perk, it works on that spear too. So then I can, in theory, build into spin and spear at the same time. Or, like, Fortify reduces cooldowns when you're in it. So then I can build into one of my cooldowns and Fortify, depending on what I think. Like, I think there's more there that I think a lot more people are going to experiment. I think the powers do actually weave into themselves a lot better. But in the same sense, it's not like I'm just going to pick and choose whatever. Like, I do need to think about the synergy, and that, in theory, is more limiting than, the other alternative. I think that's fine. I think that's what makes it fun. This isn't like regular perks, where I think the Overwatch, like, traditional perks that we have now are a lot more like, just pick one or the other. Don't think about a build, right? Just like, what do you need that is strong? And in Stadium, I think you do need to think about the synergy and the cohesion of everything. And you should, basically.
Yeah. I have faith. Stadium's fun. I hope they can continue to improve it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how much like I'll talk about it on this channel that much. Like I'll probably, this is kind of like the big tell-all. I'll probably do one more video. I'll probably do like a Stadium after a month. And just be like, how does Stadium feel now that we've got our hands on it and broken it wide open with all the builds? But in general, I'll probably stay away from it because I cannot imagine I'm really gonna be playing it for like my main game mode, at least for like a little bit, right? Like I think this is gonna be like we go on and we play a couple ranked games and then we all get mad and then it's like, let's just go play a Stadium. You know what I mean? Like we still want to play the game. Let's just go play Stadium for a second. I think that's a good way to a good extra thing to have in the game.
Yeah, I think in my mind it's definitely competing with arcade more than it is quick play or competitive.
Yeah, exactly. I actually think you're right. I don't know if I would ever just kind of like sit down and play like quick play. Maybe I'd just be like, well, quick play is short, but like I think I might just be like, if I just want to like play Overwatch casually, I might as well just like make progress in Stadium, right? Because it's not like it's not as punishing until you're at like the super high ranks. So I might as well just like try to get some wins in Stadium and get closer to whatever. So I think that's a good thing to have. It's like a good progression thing to have in the game as well. I think it's
like
a little
having
underrated.
A slack off game mode a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I think it's kind of weird because then it's like only comp. But
whatever.
Whatever.
Anything else you want to talk about this season? You want to talk about the battle pass themes? You want to talk about epic loot boxes?
Dude, the epic! I saw that and I was like, okay, whatever.
I don't know. They give you one if you play enough Stadium or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The epic loot box. I'm just waiting for the common loot box, or if you open 100 of them, you can get a rare or something. So.
Yo, a rare, nice. That's what we need.
Yeah, I don't know. The epic loot box. It made me laugh. That counts for something. I think.
I think it's true. I hate that there is a UI bug where if you did not open your loot boxes from last season, I forgot that I got an extra one from I claimed a Twitch drop, I think. Mm-hmm. So I got one extra one that I didn't on Monday night that I didn't actually go in and open. It opened it automatically because the season went changed. However, it is still stuck as I have one unopened loot box, although it has I cannot get rid of it. I keep going
Unplayable.
Unplayable. It is driving me mad right now. I need them to fix this. If I was in a creator Discord, I would be messaging every hour. I would be like, "You need to fix this. This is an unplayable video game."
It was pretty rough last season when the loot boxes came out, but there was no like mark all is seen button. I just had to go through it, like clear everything. It's funny. Old problems are back, so maybe they'll bring back old solutions.
Yeah. That's all I've got for this episode, because again, we know you, Tom. We don't need to go through all the
unstoppable yappers. Us too.
I know. I was aiming for like an hour.
Nice short episode for us.
It is shorter. It is. This is probably the second shortest that I've done so far. So, don't sell yourself short there. Don't worry. We're all good in that capacity. So, Tom, if you want, again, you don't have to shout yourself out if you care.
Yeah, it's me, Tom. That's my shout out.
Hell yeah.
First ever, I think, repeat guest on the podcast. So
it's true. And
it's good to be back.
Daniel will shoot me when he sees this tomorrow.
The crowd demanded it. Back by popular demand. Go put in the comments. W Tom.
W Tom.
W Tom. But yeah, no, it's good to talk a little Overwatch.
Of course. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. New episode out. 2 weeks, as always. See you then. Peace out. Bye-bye.